yeah, from 1968, a one-hit wonder for People and I Love You, here on the Ray King and Lisa Jordan Show.
Hi, Ray.
Say something, Lisa.
I am.
Let's give a phone number for requests. How about that?
We can do that.
Yes, 216-759-8964 for requests and dedications. One more time, 216-759-8964.
And we have a lot of music.
Well, we have so much music, 3,500 songs and growing.
And we keep telling you guys that, you can probably pick a song and try and stump us, but I don't think anybody can.
Lisa, tell me about your radio career. You just graduated from school,
I
right?
did. I just graduated in September for the second time, actually. I have a broadcasting degree, a Bachelor of Arts in Communications from a college in Indiana that I obtained in 1985. Oh my gosh, I just told my age.
You can't be that old.
Oh.
No way.
No, I'm 29 forever.
Yeah, like I am.
Yeah. But yes, I went into radio and worked for several stations. I worked for WRVN and started training there, became the music director there for a while. And then on the weekends, on Saturdays, I used to work for WHBU. This was in Anderson, Indiana. And there's our phone. Yay!
The phone lines are ringing at WIXY.
There we go.
There we go.
And I used to run the Cincinnati Reds baseball games. That's
cool.
That was really cool. And that kind of helped with my love of baseball. My dad, made us watch baseball, whether we wanted to or not, and football and everything else. But I would love to sit and listen to the baseball game. So I got to go see Johnny Bench retire when he retired from the Reds. So I was at that game.
Cool.
And then I also worked for a country station, WAXT, in Indiana, and I sold advertising for them and did all kinds of stuff like that in mass media. Mm-hmm. Then I moved back to Ohio and became a mobile disc jockey for a few years.
Which you're still doing, right?
Which I am still doing. This one was not mine, though. The one I'm doing now is mine. The one I was doing then was a friend of mine. He hired me on because he knew I had that degree in broadcasting, and I had the voice, he thought, for something like that. So I was out.
You got the voice, no doubt about it.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that you think so.
I know so, yeah.
Was out doing weddings and bar mitzvahs and all the Christmas parties I could come up with, and having a great time getting free food. Free food was important back then, especially when you don't have a lot of money.
Always a good thing.
Exactly. Then I took some time off, like 25 years. And
that's all?
Got married, had a kid. She's now in college, so I decided to go back to school and learn how to do all this again on computers this time.
And it's still fun, isn't it?
It is. It's a
different,
blast.
But it's still fun.
I love it. It's amazing how much everything has changed because we used to spin records.
Yeah,
you remember that, Ray, right?
We'll talk about my early radio career going back to 1960 in the next half hour.
Exactly. But I love this computer stuff. It's so much easier, and it's lighter, too. You don't have to carry boxes of records everywhere. So, I now have my own mobile DJ service, and I'm getting some obviously good time sitting here at WIXY1260.
Playing rock music.
Exactly. And see, Ray's expanding my knowledge of music. He's forcing me to learn 1959 and 60.
So far back.
I know, but it's good, and I love it. And so I get to sit and listen to all that, and then I can help him when we get up into the late 70s, 80s, and 90s and stuff. So we work with each other. We help each other out.
And we do, I think, a good job as a team.
We do. I love being here, and the guys behind us. We got Gary back there manning the phones and the computers, and
and our studio audience also named Gary.
We have two Garys here tonight.
Yes, we do.
And my other Gary, he's full of questions. I love that. He gets to ask us all kinds of stuff, and we just we like talking about ourselves because we're disc jockeys.
There you go. How about going back to 1970?
I love this song.
1260 plays more music.
This is the Delphonics, and didn't I blow your mind this time here on WIXY1260?
A great spin from 1970, the Delphonics, Didn't I Blow Your Mind This Time? Well, last night's air talent is now back home in Michigan. Mr. Art Volo requested this song, which we for some reason could not play last night.
Back home in Michigan.
Yeah, lucky him, huh?
Oh, I feel so bad for Michigan.
Well, we all did.
Not.
Let's not go there. Art feels bad enough. Four Seasons, Christmas Tears on WIXY.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to History in the Making, the combined Lisa Jordan and Ray King show, only on WIXY1260. That's right.
You're listening to WIXY1260. This is Ray King and the Lisa Jordan show, and this is Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wills and Jenny Take a Ride on those, probably what, Firestone tires or something?
Oh, yeah. Going out to all our friends in Novi, Michigan.
It was May 23rd.
Adolf Eichmann is captured by Israeli agents.
July 12th.
Soviet Premier Khrushchev declares the Monroe Doctrine dead and says that Russia will support Cuba in any effort to eliminate the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo.
September 2nd.
Fidel Castro breaks ties with nationalist China.
It was the summer of 1960.
And Ray King remembers.
WIXY. Constant music.
What a great voice. Here's Joe Jones in the summer of 1960 in stereo. You Talk Too Much on WIXY.
You talk too much.
Joe Jones from 1960.
WIXY. Cleveland. Setting the pace with Mid-America's most music.
I request.
A remake of the Drifters hit from 1960, Jay and the Americans, This Magic Moment. It's 8:38 on WIXY1260. You've got Ray King and Lisa Jordan till 10 o'clock tonight.
This magic moment.
Going out by request for Erica, that's This Magic Moment here on WIXY1260. Speaking of this magic moment.
Good,
You asked
good,
me,
Lisa.
You asked me about my life history.
Right.
It's only fair, Ray.
Okay.
How'd you get started? Where? When? You
I
know.
got started in radio. No.
He doesn't have any teeth.
I had no teeth. I got no teeth. I got no voice for radio, nothing.
You do too.
I actually got started in radio way back in 1960. I was 13 that summer. And
That's
one of my best friends had a neighbor who was an engineer for a local Cleveland station, had some equipment. He put us on the air.
I saw a picture of this too.
Yes,
He
this
is not
was
lying.
This is a true story, folks. April of 1960, we went on the air at 5:40 on the AM dial. We were WMFH, which stood for Mayfield Heights. We were on the air from April through the end of August of the summer of 1960. And that was my first exposure to radio and top 40 music. And I had a ball. I really loved doing it.
It was a great picture. You looked like you were having fun. Then you got to go to
Yes, Ohio State University.
the Ohio State
Of course,
University.
absolutely. And by the way, in the summer of 60, I have to mention, we were interviewed by both the Cleveland Press and the Sun Press with pictures, and I have those articles to this day.
Yeah, he does.
In my file. Yeah. Back in 1968, I left Cleveland to go to Columbus, and I was going to the Ohio State University. By 1970, I had 3 non-paying radio jobs where I was known as, guess what, Ray King. And I actually had some friends cut some jingles for me that I still have, and I'm using them right now on WIXY.
You know, and folks, you have to believe me when I say only the people that have been to your home and have seen your room. I mean,
my video room.
Oh my gosh.
It's a monument.
It is. I took my husband here because I could not believe it. My mouth hit the floor. He has everything he's ever done, ever.
Yeah, I'm a collector. I save everything.
But it's really cool because he has all the WIXY stuff, all the WIXY countdowns.
I have a lot of stuff from CKLW in its heyday as the Big 8. The only thing I don't have is an air check of myself on WMFH.
Okay.
I don't think anybody does.
And the other thing we don't have is the actual countdown from WIXY for this week.
Well, we don't have to say that, though. We only missed by 2 days, actually.
Exactly.
But we'll get into that in the next hour.
That's coming up. That's why I said
Right,
that.
yeah.
Because I want to remind everybody we're doing that at 9 o'clock.
Yes, we're going to count down the top 15 songs from this week from 1966 from the WIXY 60 survey.
Exactly. So,
what
else
cool.
did you do?
Well, I had never gotten into commercial radio. I actually didn't graduate from Ohio State. The draft pulled me out. So I went in the Air Force in 1972 and 3. Moved back to Columbus in 74, and guess what? I was a manager at McDonald's for a couple of years. Got burned out on 90-hour work weeks, so I quit McDonald's, moved out to Cleveland, and everybody else knows I worked for Corky and Lenny's for about 30 years. 20 years.
Okay.
And that was enough.
Okay, now the important question.
Yes.
Before we start some more music,
Yes, we will.
you and this guy behind us started this.
We'll get into that next, how this
Okay.
WIXY online station began. And we're going to bring in my partner in crime, Gary, the other half of the WIXY team,
Okay.
and we'll talk about how WIXY Online began
That's what I want to hear about. So whenever you're ready to talk, we can do that.
very soon.
This is the Jackson 5 and Love You Save here on WIXY 1260.
Now that's music from 50 years ago, the fall of 1962, Brenda Lee with All Alone Am I. This is Ray King, and sitting next to me is the other half of the WIXY 1260 online team. This is Gary. And Gary, why don't you tell us when you began WIXY 1260 online?
Well, it's all become a big mix in my mind anymore. I remember it started on a bad summer day. It was raining. We couldn't go camping, couldn't do much of anything else. And I've always had the urge to do this. I said, I'm going to do it. So we started out on Live 365 and stuck with that for a while. And then we went over to Loudcaster, which we just found out about 2 hours ago is out of business. And
Right.
Then through looking at your WIXY Online website, the history site, I said, who's this guy? So I called you, and that's how we got
Right.
to know each
That's
other.
true.
And then we said, let's try doing this the right way. And we're doing it the way we are now. We pay all the royalty fees, and we can do whatever we want.
And we pretty much do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, right now we're streaming two streams. We're an MP3 and an AAC. Why don't you tell our listeners what the difference is and where they are?
Oh, that's a tough one. Actually, somebody else I know would have a better job at explaining that. But the AAC is a newer format. It uses up a lot less data. It has a much sharper sound quality to it than MP3. And that's probably the more popular one for our station.
Right.
When we look at our monitor to see who's listening, we have way more people listening to the AA stream.
True. Very true.
AAC stream, excuse me, than we do on the MP3 stream.
Right.
But actually, a guy by the name of Greg out in California put us onto that, and I'm glad he did because it's been the greatest thing we ever did.
For sure, yeah. Let's talk real quickly about our program, Sam Broadcaster.
Oh,
which is
yes.
what's making all this mix so well.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I don't want to tell you how many hours. Number one, I tested about 15 different programs to find one that even worked halfway decent. And then I went to Sam, and we set that up, and it just took me hours and hours and hours to get all the crossfades to work properly. And then we could get into the story about how you kept messing me up.
We don't want to do that. The bottom line is we got the crossfades pretty well perfect, and I think they sound great, and I think our listeners will agree.
Yeah, although I have to tell you the story. When we were working on that, I would make a change, and I'd think, well, we're getting close, and Ray would go, I don't like it, and he'd set it back to where it was, and I'm like,
Yeah, it probably
"Well,
cost
give
us
me
about
chance."
a month of hard labor there.
So finally I said, Ray, get your fingers off of there and let me play with this thing. And then finally, after about another, week, two?
Yeah, how
something
about
like
that?
that, I finally found the right mix, and that's what we've been using ever since, and I haven't changed it.
And I think it sounds smooth as silk.
Well, good. That's what
I
we're
really
supposed to do.
Exactly. Anyway, let's get back to some music on WIXY. Let's go back to 1961. One of my favorite songs by Elvis called Little Sister on WIXY 1260.
Little sister, don't you? Little sister.